Bienvenidos a la GMs for Hire.
Hey.
For our international friends and for everybody else, hey y'all, how's it going? Happy Thursday. We're back yet again. Another GMs for Hire live. Myself, Will Polston, and Matthew Perry here on the ones and twos to bring you the latest sports information, topics, debates, everything going on in the world. Matt, obviously, you've got a different background behind us, and you look to be in a different, whole new area. So, how you been the last couple since last time we seen you?
Yesterday was chaotic moving into here. For those who don't know, I go to USF in Tampa and moved into an apartment right off campus. It's been interesting, but it's a nice apartment, a little expensive. I'll figure that out later. But I'm happy here so far, at least.
Hey, that's all we can ask for. So that's good. Welcome back to school. Welcome back to class. And now that you're home and on by yourself, let's hop into some stuff. Obviously, if you've been here in GMs for Hire before, we talk just a little bit about everything. So we're probably going to hit all of the major sports, but as of recently, since our last live, there's been quite a bit of things going on, a lot of controversy, a lot of people speaking out, trying to get their minds and everything straight. So let's just hop right into it. First off, we got to start with baseball, the go-to sport around here at GMs for Hire for most people. Let's start with the Mets. The Mets are going to Met. The Mets, and they have continued to Met. And boy, is it's a shit show out there right now in New York. From Javi Baez and Francisco Lindor, giving the fans thumbs down for them getting booed. Javi Baez even apologizing and him still damn near getting booed out of the stadium. Then their general manager finds his way into a DUI here. What was it, last night? I mean, the Mets are just kind of man. If their win-loss record wasn't doing enough, they've decided to do plenty on and off the field. So just take me through a little bit of what the hell is all going on in the Mets organization.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama in Queens, and I can't say I'm shocked. I mean, it's just what the Mets seem to do these days. The Javi Baez thing was probably one of the dumbest things I've heard in a long time in not only baseball but all of sports. Javi Baez has been playing for 5-6 seasons already, at least, probably, right?
Roughly.
You'd think he'd heard some boos before and kind of knew how that worked, because I mean, you play for the Cubs, who have, I'd say, a passionate fan base. I've never been to Wrigley or
they do
surrounded myself, but yeah, they're one of the oldest teams. I'm sure they have a big fan base that's very passionate about play, and obviously, the Cubs won their World Series while Baez was there, but there were times when they were not great, mostly this season, I would say, leading up to Baez's trade. He should be used to hearing boos. I mean, it's not like the Mets fans are the first ones to ever boo their own team. I mean, the Yankee fans do it after like every double play or any if we walk a guy, we get booed. So it's really not a big deal, and it's part of the game. And I mean, obviously, booing back the fans isn't like a big deal. Like, no one's getting hurt by it. But at the same time, it's like, what's the point? Like, it's just it's kind of it's one of the dumbest ways to turn your back on the fans and make everyone hate you. Of course, he scored the winning run in like a game like a couple of days after that. So I think Mets fans are over it already. But just the fact that it happened is it's really, really stupid. And then the DUI, general manager Zach Scott leaving a fundraiser at the owner's house, at Steve Cohen's house. Apparently, multiple people have said that basically he has alibis that he was fine when he left, but apparently like hours after the fundraiser, that's when the DUI was. So we don't have all the details on that yet, but just the fact that it happened to the Mets GM, I mean, I'm not shocked. You had stuff coming out with Mickey Callaway, who used to be their manager. Now with the Angels, he had that stuff. And then you have Brody, who was their GM, I think, before Scott or two before Scott, whatever. I think he was involved in his fair share of issues. It's just a mess. I mean, I don't know if it's bad luck or the Mets cursed or what. You get a new owner who you're excited about. We made a video about it and kind of praising it, saying it was the start of a new era. But now all this owner really does is make shitty trades and live tweet games like he's like he's John Boy and Jake or something. Like, I don't know. Like, there's something going on in that organization where they just can't get it right. I mean, I don't know how much longer it's going to take for them to figure it out, but now they have Sandy Alderson working as president of baseball ops and directing this, and now he's taking over as GM while Zach Scott is on a leave of absence for a undisclosed amount of time. I mean, it's insane, really.
Yeah, I don't know what all the hell is going on with the Mets. Whenever I saw, I have push notifications from Vasgersian and Rosenthal and everybody like that, and I saw the tweet come in from Rosenthal, and it said was it Scott's his last name?
Yeah,
Zach Scott had been arrested for a DUI with the Mets, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? I had no idea who he was.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're friends with a couple of Mets fans, and then that's when I found out more into the situation. I'm like, oh, this is great. If not enough was going on with the Mets now, of course, now you got to add that to it. Of course, it just add fuel to the fire, and it just it's not looking good. Now, whenever obviously that's a serious issue, a DUI and everything like that. I mean, there's not too much to say about that. That's just icing on top of the cake right now in Queens, but. Right now, and Michael Hickey tuning in, he said 3 GMs in 1 year, Mets are in hell. Big Yankee guy right there, obviously. But that's kind of hilarious. I mean, at least that's the outside looking in perspective. Whenever you're looking at it, 3 GMs in a season is alarming to say the least. That definitely something's not going right. Typically, we've got a trash GM. The Cardinals do, who's been the GM for damn near a decade. So you got to be really doing something serious to go through 3 in a year. Congrats to the Mets milestones. You got to appreciate it. Hall of Shame. But other than that, whenever it comes to the players, Lindor and Baez specifically, giving people the thumbs down, the fan bases and everything like that. I want to get your opinion on it because, I heard a couple of people talking out about it. And personally, I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I understand New York is a very passionate fan base, and you have to have thick skin to play in New York. We've seen players come to New York, struggle, and then get out in New York and do just as well. Players, the first name that comes to my mind is Sonny Gray. I mean, Sonny Gray did really well in Oakland, was looking like a potential Cy Young candidate and everything whenever he was with the Athletics. He went to your Yankees and struggled, and the fan base let him hear it. The fan base let him hear it whenever he was struggling, and then he moved to Cincinnati and he didn't skip a beat. He kind of jumped right back into his Sonny Gray ways of pitching. And like I said, you have to have thick skin. You have to be able to take it on the chin and just keep continuing to move on. And it seems like Lindor and Baez, I don't know, maybe definitely not Baez, but it seems like Lindor is maybe even falling into that category of people who really can't take the heat in New York. Whenever fans are going to boo you and everything such as that, I mean, that's not something I've dealt with a lot. I mean, this is the first year as a Cardinals fan. This is the first year I've heard our team get booed. There was a game earlier this year where we were down, I want to say 10 or 11 runs in a thick losing streak. And I mean, a couple of our bullpen arms got booed off the mound, basically, which is very, very uncharacteristic of us. But in New York, you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that a lot too. And so it's just one of those things to where you just have to be ready for it. And to go against your fan bases who come out, they buy tickets, they buy your jersey, they pay for parking, they get concession stands and everything. The whole reason you have a check and you're going up against these guys, thumbs down and saying all this. And to me, it just seems so bad. And I just feel like I got annoyed by it. I got personally annoyed by it. Especially if the key players, or at least payment wise, contract wise, who were supposed to be your key players, are stepping out like that and saying stuff like that. It's kind of annoying. So I wanted to get your opinion on that and see what you thought of the whole thumbs down situation between Lindor and Baez.
Yeah. So Baez can do whatever he wants. They're not bringing him back. If he wants to completely turn his back on Mets fans who trusted him for about a week or two, sure, go for it. I mean, there's nothing left for you after this season. Francisco Lindor, though, you sign a big ass extension, and they give you a lot of money. You're there for a long time. You got to stick it out. Giancarlo Stanton, when he's traded to the Yankees, he has a big ass contract, and he has had a fair share of boos because when he's bad, he's really, really bad. He goes through these big hot and cold stretches, and when he's hot, the home faithful at Yankee Stadium, they love it. They love him a lot. When he's bad, a bunch of almost every player on the Yankees gets this. Gary Sanchez definitely one of them. Judge at times, you're gonna get booed. They're gonna tell you how they feel, and I mean that just goes with the passion of a fan base. I know the Cardinals do have a passionate fan base, but from what I'm hearing, they're not the type to boo, and that's fine. Every team works differently. I've never heard the Rays get booed at the Trop, so it differs.
Fans got to show up to get booed.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point too. But you're in New York. Certain players in free agency will avoid New York just because the bright lights. They don't want to deal with the media and the rowdy fans. Shohei Ohtani is one big example. The Yankees offered him something. I don't know if the Mets did too. And the Yankees always had luck with Japanese players. Masahiro Tanaka came. Hideki Matsui, among others from that side of the world. And Ohtani didn't really want that. He wanted something, where he could focus on baseball a little more. And he wound up heading to Anaheim with the Angels. And I mean, it's clearly paid dividends for him. He's playing fantastic. Probably one of the best players in baseball, if not the best. So Lindor and Baez, Baez didn't have a choice because he was traded. But Lindor moving forward, you got yourself into this. You accepted the extension. You are set here for the next however many years that contract was. And you got to make the best of it. And one of the ways to do that is winning over the fans. So obviously they've issued apologies, and I think we can nip this in the bud. But it was just a very immature showing from Javier Baez and Francisco Lindor.
And I feel like Javi Baez, I feel like he still did have a choice because, whenever it came out that he was obviously the whole team started selling, everybody with any value on the Cubs was starting to get moved. Javi Baez spoke out and he said that he wanted to go and play with Francisco Lindor. And then he gets sent out to the Mets. He still sucks. He still strikes out all the time. And then he gets booed by the fans, and the first thing he does is go after the fans. I feel like it's just kind of embarrassing. And yes, I get he's a rental and he's probably not coming back and everything like that. But that's a really bad look if you really are trying to spend some time with Lindor and try to play some and get some playing time with the Mets. It's not a good look, and here comes Hickey with the Francisco Lindor. Obviously that man got the bag and then forgot how to play baseball. He's having a pretty rough season this year overall. And then Javi Baez on a contract year and leading the league in strikeouts and continuing to sure, he's got his hustle plays and he's got his flashy plays here and there, but still definitely continuing to struggle and not helping a fan base much. And I think that's going to, this is a contract year for Javi. Whenever you go into a situation like this, other GMs have to be looking at that. Other GMs have to be like, yo, you're getting booed and you're bringing down the fans. We don't want that in our organization. We don't want to pay you this much if you're going to lead the league in strikeouts. What value are you getting out of Javi Baez for a contract he's expecting? I think that he's only adding like I said earlier, fuel to the fire, and he's only making it harder for himself to get that big extension. And Hickey's tuning in right now with saying Javi Baez is the most overrated player in the world, and he said he's never seen a star as bad as him. And that's a good point. And a lot of people will sit there and it's a problem. He's kind of a star by force. I wouldn't even say he's a star. In fact, I wouldn't even say he's top 5 at his position, and now he's leading the league in strikeouts and everything else. Anybody else, you'd say this is a bum, you'd say this is a bad player. And he's got all these negative accolades. But the MLB continues to force him down everybody's throat just because he's a flashy player, and everybody thinks that he's great for the game. When I guess for some people, some people really like Javi, and some people like me, and everybody like that. He not so much. Hickey also said he should be kissing ass because his talent won't get him a deal. There you go. That lets you know how people feel about Javi Baez out here. So. Yeah, no, I just feel like Javi's really kind of digging a hole for himself, and I feel like every single one of these antics is just chipping off a couple more million, or maybe even another year or two off of your new deal.
Yeah, I don't know where Baez is going next year, but I don't see him getting star money. So
Yeah, no, I really don't see where that's going to come in. Excuse me. For anybody just now joining, thank you all for joining us. We're starting to see the people start to pile in here a little bit. This comment down below in the Facebook is pinned. This will take you straight to our YouTube channel. If you like the conversations we're having, you can go and click on it. Come join the family, sign the contract, and come subscribe to the channel. Last time we were on here, we had 23. We gained 23 subs last time we were live. So it was quite the day. So why don't we continue on and let's have another fun day. And of course, everybody knows you get the fun little subscriber horn if you subscribe during a live. So make sure you put in the comments that you subscribe to the channel, and we'll get things moving for you. But other than that, let's step away from the Mets for a little bit. Obviously, they've been there. So let's see. Actually, Hickey just said he'll get 8 years, $60 million, and he will like it. 8 years, 60. That comes down to about
8 years is a lot for Javier Baez.
8 years comes down to less than $8 million a year, and he's sure as hell not going to sign a deal for less than $8 million a year for 8 years.
Ni hao. You better go over.
Ni hao, yeah.
He's going to sign that 1 year, 20 mil over in the KBO.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for him. That's where he's going. He's going to go sign with the Shanghai Sharks. What a bum. But hopefully we'll get him the hell out of here. But we'll step aside right now, away from the Mets for a little bit. Is there any other baseball news that you wanted to discuss? That's the only thing I had on the docket for baseball.
Hey, I mean the Cy Young races are kind of exciting, heating up a little bit. We got a pretty tight race in the American League. Garrett Cole, Lance Lynn, and Robbie Ray are probably the big three that are heading towards that route. I got Roll Ohtani out. He's pitching great, but he's not on that level. But I don't know why I'm in a hosting format right now when I'm speaking, but what are your thoughts on the AL Cy Young? Let me ask you first.
Yeah, I mean the AL race is kind of hot. You said those three names: Cole, Ray, and Lynn. Earlier this year, I was really thinking it was going to be Lynn. I mean, Lynn, which is psycho to think, because like Lynn is a guy who has made. I have never seen somebody make his whole career off of just throwing a fastball. Lance Lynn throws like 85 to 90% fastballs and somehow gets away with it. And not only that, there are certain players like Mike Trout who can't hit him. Like Mike Trout's career numbers are like under 240 against somebody like Lance Lynn, which is nuts to know exactly to know exactly what he's going to throw and not hit him. It's kind of like, the only other pitcher I can think of that made his career throwing fastballs and you still couldn't hit it was Mariano Rivera. And I'm not saying Lance Lynn's Mariano Rivera, but it's kind of ridiculous how people don't hit Lance Lynn. There's a whole nother different thing to Mariano. He's coming out, he's throwing as hard as he can for one inning, and he's throwing a psycho cutter with crazy movement. This is just a straight four-seam fastball, and he's doing it for 7-8 innings at a time, and you're still not hitting it. It's weird. I love Lance Lynn, but I still don't think his strikeout numbers are there to win the Cy Young. So as the season's gone on, I've leaned towards Cole. Cole, if I'm not mistaken, is leading the AL in strikeouts and in ERA. If I'm not mistaken, he's been stepping up.
Strikeouts he is. Strikeouts is for certain. Let me double check ERA.
He's got to be top 3 in ERA, I'd imagine.
Yeah, ESPN's not the best place for this. It's giving me issues.
Regardless, I know he's leading the American League in strikeouts. I know he's up there in ERA. At the end of the day, Garrett Cole's just a phenomenal pitcher. This Cy Young race in the American League is looking great, but I think right now there's a little bit more of a clear front runner. I think Cole is just a little bit ahead of both Lynn and Ray. Ray's had a phenomenal couple months. Ray has been stepping up out of his shell. That's a guy I truly didn't expect to be here. At least Lance Lynn has some ace stuff. He's seen glimmers of that in the past. And Robbie Ray definitely, in my opinion, hasn't been shown to be one of those top pitchers in the league anytime soon. He's been a solid or a serviceable 2 or 3 in rotations before. And even this year, I mean, he was expected to be the 2 or the 3 out there in Toronto, and he's just been phenomenal. But I still think I got to go with Garrett Cole as of right now. If the season was to end, I think the title goes to Cole, and I'm assuming as a resident Yankees fan, you're probably along the same boat.
I don't know. I mean, you can make a claim for all three, like you said. Looking statistically, Lynn leads in ERA. It's very close. Lynn 259, Robbie Ray 271, and then Garrett Cole 273. He gave up 1 run yesterday. Don't know if that helped or hurt, but he was fantastic yesterday. He had 15 Ks, 7 innings. He does lead all of Major League Baseball in strikeouts. I believe second is Walker Buehler, who has 27 more innings pitched than Cole. So, Cole's doing this at a very good rate in only 155 innings, over 200 strikeouts. His Ks per nine is 12.5. That might lead the league, actually, if I check this here. It does indeed lead the league, 0.3 higher than Corbin Burns, who we know is having a good year. But yeah, you can make a claim all three. It just depends on what you value. Cole leading the AL in wins. We're not going to value wins, and people don't do that anymore. Pitcher WAR, I mean, he has a 5.4 WAR this year, which has to be probably top 3 in the major leagues. I know Walker Buehler has a 5.9 WAR. It is 5th. Robbie Ray is 1st in pitcher WAR. I mean, like you said, he was meant to be a 2 or 3 starter for Toronto. He's broken out completely. He's tied with Zach Wheeler with 6.1 pitcher WAR, leading all of Major League Baseball. So Ray has probably been most valuable to his team, although the Blue Jays are a 4th place team. So how valuable can they be? Garrett Cole, obviously the Yankees have missed an ace for years. They finally have it. Obviously he's been fantastic. And then in Chicago with the White Sox, I don't watch the White Sox as much, but Lance Lynn's doing his thing. Obviously, they have Giolito and Rodon, who I believe, is he still injured or has he came back? I'm not sure.
If I'm not mistaken, Rodon is back, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I mean, all 3 teams, maybe not the Blue Jays as much, but all 3 teams have a solid rotation. The Yankees has gotten a lot better. Corey Kluber coming back has made it that much better. Tyone's really broken out. There's Justin. Welcome in.
Hey, Justin.
I was missing you. I'm not going to lie. We need you to spice up the chat a little bit. But yeah, no, you can make the claim for all 3. If I'm a homer, I'm going to go Garrett Cole. I think what Robbie Ray's done has been very special, just because no one expected it. So as a dark horse, I'd go Ray. I think Lynn might fall in the middle there, but I think all 3 of these guys have a chance to win it. It really depends on how voting goes.
Garrett Cole reminds me, Garrett Cole is the guy who should win it. Lance Lynn's the guy who is kind of okay, you get why he's there and everything like that. And Robbie Ray strikes me as the R.A. Dickey, Rick Porcello kind of guy who's who the hell let you in here?
Yeah, he wouldn't win it again,
and so it's oh, hey, nice to see you up here. It's fun to see a new name up there. That's for sure. Hickey said Cole missed a run and is running away with the Cy Young. I don't know what missed a run. I don't know what that means, but hey, he's saying that Garrett Cole's running away with the Cy Young. I don't know who's on the Coast to Coast Entertainment page right now, right? But he said, I hope that Yankees don't win the Cy Young. I would rather see Will Paulston win it. It's kind of rude. Oh, why would you rather see me win it over a Yankee? I mean, hell yeah, you'd rather see me win it. I wish I could win it. Oh, okay. So Hickey said he missed a month. That's what he not missed a run.
Yeah, his innings pitched are several starts down because he was on the COVID IL, so that took a hit. But really, since he's came back from the COVID IL, his ERA is under 1. He has a hell of a lot of strikeouts. It's great. It's fantastic.
He's been out there. He's been doing the damn thing. Mike Ferguson said, I'd much rather watch this than the train wreck of USF football. Shout out to us. We kicked off today against NC State. Michael, let me know how that game's going. I can only imagine it is a shit show. Let's see. He Coast to Coast said the Cy Young should go to the young little leaguer Gavin.
Yeah. From
Gavin's got an arm.
Right?
Gavin has an arm. Justin's saying the Yankees do have a chance to win it all this year, Matt. So you're looking positive. Hey, asshole, get out here and quit showing off your channel. Nobody cares about you. This isn't freaking free advertisement. Get out of here. I'm deleting all your comments. It's Big B. It's Brandon Herrera on the entertainment.
Oh, what's up, Brandon?
Hey, Brandon, how's it going? He said, let's just say Dorn can't even get in front of the damn ball. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, we suck.
Perfect.
So that's fun. Hickey also said, I was going to say that Lynn reminds me of Porcello. Okay, so Lynn reminds you of Porcello. I'm still more of a Robbie Ray to Porcello kind of comparison. Hey, yo, Dita. Hey, yo, get the hell out of here, my guy. You're go find somewhere else to go advertise, my dude. You're no longer welcome here. But yeah, so whenever we talk about the American League Cy Young Award, obviously got to talk about the NL Cy Young. And right now, the top 5 leaders in ERA are all in the National League. The top 5 in MLB are all there. You have to talk about all of the guys in Milwaukee. You have to talk about Corbin, Freddie, and Brandon Woodruff. You have to talk about Kevin Gausman. You have to talk about Max Scherzer. You have to talk about Walker Buehler. I mean, there is all types of names that could be brought up, in the Cy Young Award race out there. So obviously it's like a 5 or 6 headed race going in there. Just take me through a little bit of your opinions on some of the names that are in it right now.
This one is for me much harder, although it's a 3-man race, and I didn't give a set guy for AL Cy Young. This being a 5-man race makes it 10 times more difficult because, all these guys have a really good ERA. Almost all of them. I still like win-loss, and everyone except Woodruff has a really good win-loss. Strikeouts are all there. Everyone's over 180 Ks, which should put them all in the top 10 or top 15 at least. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if how much value you provide to your team should play into it. But I mean, Kevin Gausman, a great signing for San Francisco. We never would have thought he'd done that. No. He's fantastic, 5th in the in all of baseball in ERA. He's 12-5. I mean, there's not much more you can ask for from a signing like that. I think he's going to get a bet. I think he only signed a 1-year deal in San Fran, so I think they'll bring him back, and I think they'll give him a decent bag, honestly. Walker Buehler. I mean, the Dodgers are great as always, but this has been Walker Buehler's year. I mean, he's been spectacular. He's 13-2, ERA almost under 1, almost reaching DeGrom levels. He'd be in this conversation if he wasn't still injured. But at that, I mean, that really sucks because we would be talking about DeGrom if he was not injured. But Burns and Woodruff, fantastic. I love what the Brewers are doing in Milwaukee. I think that if they keep, building on this, because they have the rotation now, Burns, Woodruff, Peralta not far behind. Bullpen's good. I think Devin Williams has settled down after a rough start to the season. Then you got Josh Hader, who's probably a top 5 reliever in baseball, if I'm being honest. It's really, really tough. And then you got Max Scherzer, who traded at the deadline, has not slowed down at all. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic for the Dodgers. It is very, very hard to make. I think I have to give it to Buehler at this point. He's got the most innings out of all these guys. I don't know if that means more or less, but to keep your ERA that low, and next closest guy in the top 5 here is 157 and a third innings for Woodruff. So, you're doing 19 more innings than the next man up. It's impressive that your ERA is that much lower. It's 20. He's got 22 points lower than the next guy, which is Corbin Burns. It's really, really impressive stuff. And he's up there in Ks. I think he's, tied for 9th in Ks with Gausman. But the names above him are formidable and very, very good. So it's a give and take. I think I'd go Buehler. If not Buehler, that's tough. Probably one of the boys in Milwaukee. Not going to pick between the two. One of the boys in Milwaukee.
I hear you. It's definitely, like you said, it's a loaded race. And I mean, it is a nutty race out there. And it's full with a bunch of names that at least 3 names that we haven't seen in the Cy Young race before. We're looking at Corbin Burns, hasn't been up there before. Brandon Woodruff, you could argue last year, definitely could have been up there. But if I'm not mistaken, he wasn't a finalist. I don't remember him being a finalist. He may have been.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So those 2, and then obviously Kevin Gausman coming out of the woodwork late in his career, doing phenomenal stuff. Best season of his career by far. Right now, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it has to be Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler, 13-2 is outstanding. First off, I know win-loss is not the best service to tell pitchers. Obviously, Brandon Woodruff's 9-7, so that doesn't tell you the whole story. But his WHIP almost under 0.9, his ERA almost under 2, pitching about 100 and just under 180 innings, and being able to continue to just do this well. Once you get into that ERA under 2, you might as well lock the Cy Young. You don't see that a lot nowadays. You really don't. Obviously, the game is built a lot more on offense, and it's built a lot more on the long ball. So to see that Walker Buehler is being able to hold teams to this low of a standard is very impressive, in my opinion. Walker Buehler, obviously, it was just a matter of time before he took over the Dodgers rotation. Clayton Kershaw is great and all, but you knew that eventually Walker Buehler was going to take the helm, just because he was the young cat, the young blood, really pitching. He was destined to be the next ace of the Dodgers. And this season, he's definitely taken that next step to solidify that, to become the number one out in LA with a star-studded rotation, with names like Kershaw, with names like Scherzer. And you're still, even if it came to a wild card game, I think you still go Buehler. Especially the way he's pitching. So right now, I would go Buehler as my number one. I think I would go Woodruff as number 2. Maybe just because of the innings, just because of the more of a workload. I think he still has about 20, 25 innings on Corbin, or maybe it's around 20. And his numbers are very, very comparable, just slightly off to Corbin. Corbin's numbers may look a little bit better, but again, it's the innings workload. To me, I'll take that. And then I still think my number 3 might be Max Scherzer. I think those might be my 3 finalists right now, just because Scherzer's going to dominate with the strikeouts, and he's going to skyrocket up there over a bunch of pitchers just because he's so dominant. He's going to just sit there. He's going to grunt as hard as he can, throw the ball as hard as he can, and manage to strike out damn near 12 a game. So he is who he is. We know who Max Scherzer is at this point in his career. Not much has changed. And so, he is continuing to do exactly what he does best, and that's dominate the baseball. So let's see. Mike said, a lot of comments coming in. I want to appreciate all you guys. Let's start with Michael. He said, who do you guys think is winning the American League? As a Yankees fan, I'm always delusional, but we've had a great second half of the season by far, but I know the Rays bullpen is better than ours. Matt, do you think this hot streak that the Yankees are on is strong enough to get the Yankees an AL pennant?
Well, hot streak's over. We lost 4 straight after winning 13 straight. We won last night, luckily, so hopefully we're on our way back up. I still think the Yankees have a decent chance at winning the World Series, making the World Series, sorry. But first, we got to get through the wild card. I mean, hey, we're quite a few games back on the Rays. I don't think the division's realistic anymore after that 4 straight loss stretch. The Rays only lost 4 games, I think, in all of August. They did not slow down at all.
They were nutty.
We won them in a row. We were hot, but the Rays were hot, just not 13 straight hot. The Rays have a great chance to win the pennant this year, I think. They've been even better than last year. So, and the AL, there's some strong teams, but I don't think the White Sox are legit. I do think the Astros, they always wake up in the postseason, at least the last several years. So, wouldn't shock me if they're deep into the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't count the Yankees out. There's definitely a chance based on we definitely turned it around the second half for sure.
I'd imagine whoever's playing that wild card game and comes out of it has to go against Tampa, assuming Tampa continues their hot streak and finishes with the best record like they are right now. And then the West winner will take on the White Sox because they're going to win the Central. They're going to walk away with that. So that'll be that. But it'll be interesting. The AL, both wild card situations are amazing because you're going to have an amazing team in the wild card in the National League too. The Dodgers or the Giants are going to walk away and end up in the wild card spot, which actually brings us to a couple of comments here from Justin. He said, do you see the Dodgers winning the division? Obviously right now, I want to say there's a half game in between the Giants and the Dodgers. So obviously that's a very, very tight race. Giants starting to come down a little bit to earth and the Dodgers starting to pick up. So right now, where do you see the NL West?
Well, looking at the NL West, actually, it's a dead tie for first place. The Dodgers and the Giants, both 85 and 49, both fantastic seasons. They'll make the playoffs no matter what. Of course, it just comes down to who's winning the division, who's getting that I guess it's a bye. I don't really know. You don't have to play in the wild card game. Congrats. And having to play in that wild card game, which right now would be against the Reds yeah.
Right now, I think it's the Reds. Yeah.
Right now, I think it's the Reds, led by Jonathan India. So,
Dick.
who do I think is going to get the division? Easy answer. I think it's the Dodgers. You want to see the Giants play spoiler here. The Dodgers are kind of turning into that team you're kind of tired of seeing win all the time because I mean it's been consistent. I think how many years in a row have they won the NL West? It's got to be at least.
It's coming up on a decade.
Yeah, I mean ever since the Giants were in the World Series, like almost a decade ago.
Yeah.
So,
I think they may have won the division every year since 14.
Probably. It's been too long since we've had a different NL West champion. I was really confident in the Padres coming into the season after the offseason they had, and they've disappointed. They're 14 out, and I think several games out of the wild card now. So don't know what's happening in San Diego. I hope they figure it out. I hope they impress me next season, and I hope they don't disappoint me next season like they did here. But I have to go with the Dodgers just because that you could tell it's shifting. Dodgers have won 7 of 10. Giants have won 5 of 10, but it's the Dodgers have won 3 in a row. I do think they are officially making their pass. It's not the final lap, and it's definitely not the first lap, but we're heading to that home stretch, and the Dodgers are finally preparing to make that pass and take the division.
A couple other, obviously, there's a ton of baseball comments in here. I'm trying to go through which ones are serviceable. Here's one: coast to coast. DeGrom has zero chance to win it, right? Or could he? I don't think he can.
No.
Missed a lot of time with injury, unfortunately. Definitely. Definitely not. I don't even think he qualifies right now for league leading stats and stuff just because he's injured, and he's missed quite a bit of time. Mike wanted to say, based off our comment about who could win the AL East, he said, "I got a garbage can for the Astros, and thank you all for the great analysis and insight." Absolutely, buddy. Anytime, any place, anywhere. Let's see here. Here's a good one. He said, Justin says, "Does Gabe Kepler lose the manager of the year if he does not win?" I'm assuming he means the division. And honestly, I don't think there's anybody even close to Gabe Kepler right now in manager of the year. I think that's almost a shoo-in. I think you can almost lock that up for him. Maybe Craig Counsell. Maybe.
I like what he's been doing. Yeah, it has to come down to Kepler or Counsell. I'd still give it to Kepler just because nobody saw the Giants doing this.
No.
I mean, a lot of it's credit to the general manager for the signings because obviously Gosman has been crucial. But, yeah, Kepler's been great.
Yeah, no, I like Kepler to win the National League Manager of the Year. Maybe the executive of the year goes to the Brewers. I mean, getting Adames, getting Escobar, they've made some amazing moves. Getting Wong, they've made a lot of great moves this offseason. But I still think Kepler's a shoo-in for the National League Manager of the Year just because of how stacked that division was. Everybody said it was a 2-team race. Nobody included the Giants in that. Everybody expected the Giants to sit around 500 and hang out third in the division. Nobody expected them to be leading, in first place in the division in September. So I think Kepler's definitely got to be up there for manager of the year. But that being said, one last baseball one. Do you think the Giants have what it takes to win a World Series? I've seen a lot of comments from Justin in here regarding the Giants and the World Series. I've seen him talking about where they're at in the division. He's mentioned a couple things about them winning a World Series in the wild card position. Obviously, they won three within 6 years, but haven't had too much success since. But right now, I mean, this is a hot team still. They're late in September, still up there, easily going to make the playoffs, I'd imagine, unless they fall off the face of the planet. And an outstanding pitching staff that has all had the best years of their career. All of a sudden, some players kind of coming out a resurgence almost in San Francisco, and then going to get somebody like Chris Bryant to bring it all together. Just talk about are the Giants a formidable option to win the National League pennant, and then if they get to the National League pennant and get to the World Series, do they have what it takes to take away the Commissioner's Trophy?
No, not yet. I think what they have going is good, and I think they need to build off of this. But most of the season you lead the division, and that's great, and you're pretty dominant for most of the season. But you don't have they don't have an it factor. There's no it factor in San Francisco. There's nothing that puts them over. What what makes you think the Giants would beat the Reds in even the wild card game? I mean, there's not much you can say that's very convincing because you go against a team like the Reds. Offense has picked it up. Winker, Castellanos, India's had a great rookie year. A bunch of et ceteras over there. And then pitching, I mean, Luis Castillo's brought it together after a rough start. Sonny Gray, I think, is pretty solid, but you're going to get one of them for that wild card game. So you got to get past that before you can even think about the World Series. I don't see it. I just don't think it's realistic.
I think they could. I think they get past the wild card, whoever they face, if they're in the wild card game, assuming.
Yeah.
I think they get past the wild card. I don't know what teams. Maybe San Diego. If San Diego finds their way back into the wild card, I could see them taking down the Giants. But even they've been streaky this year. The Cardinals, I don't see who they would pitch to go up against Gausman. Right now, Wainwright, he's been electric, turning back the clock. But the Reds, I mean, you'd have to go Gray, and I'd still take Gausman over Gray. There's just the Phillies, maybe Zach Wheeler, if they find a way in there. Obviously, they're in contention for the wild card too. But do I like MVP Bryce Harper and everybody else and company to take down the Giants? Honestly, yeah. If the Phillies and the Giants got matched up, I think that's a bad situation for the Giants. If the Padres match up with the Giants, I think that could be a bad situation for them. If they end up against one of those NL Central teams, I think they'll move on. But it is all a matter of that's the wild card, though. It's one game. There's no telling. Gausman or whoever the hell they pitch, they could pitch Descalfani. They could go out there, pitch one inning, get absolutely shelled. We've seen it happen. We saw it happen with Fultonavich and Braves Cardinals pitch one bad inning, and all of a sudden the game's over. All of a sudden you can't get out of the first, and there's no telling. I mean, the wild card game is such a great thing. I mean, we've seen it with Cueto in Pittsburgh and everything like that. There's no telling what's going to happen, but that's the fun of the one-game playoff. So it'll be interesting to see who goes out of there. I mean, the only way I think there's only a concrete winner is if the Dodgers move on and they end up in the wild card. I don't think any one team is going to beat the Dodgers in a one-game playoff. But again, it's one game, so who knows? Shout out Joanne. Hello, GMs. Hello, Joanne. How you doing? Welcome here. And also Andrew Harrell. Don't know who that is. Hello. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome to the family. Hit the red button. That'd be fun. You're on the YouTubes, so you could totally hit the red button, and we could play a horn for you if you'd like. But hey, it's a great time. But yeah, hey, a lot of baseball content. In fact, just realized we're 45 minutes into the show, damn near. A lot more baseball content than I thought. So hey, perfect segue. Shout out to Justin. Matthew, thoughts on Ronaldo getting a yellow card and coming back to Man U. Ronaldo, the last time we were here, we were talking about Ronaldo to Man City, and then he ends up signing with Manchester United, the crosstown rival, some would say. So obviously that was weird. So can you hit on Ronaldo joining Man U, and then he also wants to know your thoughts on him getting a yellow and coming back?
Yeah, the yellow. I think he was talking about. Did he get a yellow? Justin, you can answer this because I didn't see the whole thing, but I know he slapped a Ireland player after the Ireland player kind of knocked the ball off the penalty spot for him to take the kick. He slapped him, so I'm hoping he got a yellow. Honestly, I would have sent him off for slapping a player, but Ronaldo gets what he wants. He wound up missing that penalty too, which is always nice. But in the same game, he broke the international scoring record. No big deal. No, because he took his shirt off. Terrible. He should never play football again. Send him off. No, I mean, if it's for that, no big deal. Signing with Man United, though, yeah. We last discussed Man City. Of course, Man United, he played there previously. He became a star with Manchester United. So it made a lot more sense for him to go back there than Man City, and kind of this pisses less people off, honestly. I think it's a great signing for Manchester United. Ronaldo's never going to be a bad signing no matter where he plays. It's going to help the offense, of course, and having a guy with that height, because your other strikers and scoring threats are kind of shorter. Having someone taller like Ronaldo, I mean, you just whip it in the box, and it really creates a whole new aspect of the game with the way that Ronaldo can head the ball. So good signing for Manchester United, of course. Hopefully Ronaldo brings his best stuff. I don't think he was his best at Juventus, but hopefully returning to the club that made him kind of brings some more motivation. I'm looking forward to see what happens.
Donda. That's all I got. So yeah, he said, yeah, the Ireland coach was pissed off at the official yesterday. Can
Makes
imagine.
sense. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit. We hit our soccer threshold, or at least I have. So there is a couple of things in the NFL I wanted to discuss. NFL getting ready to kick off next week. We will see Thursday night football the same day as GM's Live. We'll be going live before the game, talking about, or maybe actually 7:30 Central. So we'll probably be going live during the game. Maybe we'll kick up that an hour or so before we can make it before kickoff, because we're going to be competing for views for sure. But obviously Dallas and Tampa Bay going to be kicking off the season. But the big news right now in the NFL, I think, to say would be Asante Samuel's comments about Bill Belichick, saying that without Brady, he's just another guy. I think the question was always, who's the person, who's the GOAT out there? Is it Belichick? Is it Brady? Obviously, we saw them separate. We saw the Patriots have a 500 season. We saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers walk away with the Super Bowl. That kind of puts a stamp on things. Now, does that make it official that Bill Belichick's a bum and that Brady's the GOAT? I guess that's up for interpretation. And that's one of those. 1 year is not enough for me personally. But whenever you look at Bill Belichick's record outside of the Tom Brady years, it could use some work. It could. Other than that, it's not outstanding. He wasn't always with the Patriots. He spent some years with some other organizations, and it wasn't great. Yo, Ray Purvis back in the comment section. Shout out my guy Ray. Starting to see you down there. How's it going, brother? So yeah, obviously, the Asante Samuel comments were very interesting, and I want to get your opinion on it, because I know you're not the biggest football fan, but obviously, I mean, there's ways to look into it and gather your own opinion. Bill Belichick has always been a guy who's been deemed as one of the greatest coaches of all time, and he's going to go down as that, just because of the success that he had with Brady and everybody else. But Asante Samuel stepped out and he said what maybe a lot of people are thinking. So I want to get your opinions on where you think Samuel is getting off and what your opinions are on it.
I found this really interesting. I found it, and I told you, I'm like, we got to talk about this. Asante Samuel, I mean, he was a great cornerback in the years he played. 2-time Super Bowl champ, thanks to the Patriots, right?
Yep.
He played 5 seasons with the Patriots, and every year they won the division. They had, some of the best success of the Brady Belichick run came while Asante Samuel was at cornerback. We don't know all the information on whether or not Samuel and Belichick got along. Obviously, this leads me to believe that they didn't have the best relationship, because I can't think of anyone else any other person that's played with Brady and Belichick at the same time that's kind of weighed in on this and given an opinion. So this is very outspoken of Samuel, which I think is nice for journalism's sake, because we can all give our takes on it. But yeah, it's really interesting, and it's really too early to have a take. Like you said, it's only been 1 season. Like Joan said, time will tell for sure. Having a good quarterback is very important, but I'm sorry, not Joan, Joanne. Sorry, Joanne. I'm reading fast.
Joanne, she goes by it all.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
As long as it's not Joan, but Joanne, Joe, whatever.
Yeah. Obviously, a great quarterback is important to every team. And Tom Brady's maybe the best quarterback to ever play for a team. So it's tough to say. Mac Jones, I don't think he's going to be a Tom Brady, but I guess they're similar in appearance and come up maybe.
Yeah,
minus the whole 7th round thing or whatever.
Definitely higher expectations.
Yeah, definitely a different or whatever. Yeah, definitely a different storyline, but who knows? We'll see what Belichick can do. They weren't like terrible last season, and they had COVID issues and stuff like that. This season, I think, can really speak volumes. Obviously, we're set to have a great season from the Buccaneers, but a lot of that is to thank the defense and the best receiving core that Brady's ever had. Brady's great, but he's surrounded by some elite talent. And so every time will tell. I can't decide one yet. Obviously, success-wise, you got to point to Brady, But who knows if some of that success with the Pats was, would have been different if Belichick was not running the team. It's an interesting topic always.
Ray Purvis said, I've been missing streams like crazy this week, but don't worry, you're here now. That's what's important. Justin also said that Matt Light and Danny Amendola have both spoken out about Bill Belichick previously. I did not know about that.
I haven't seen that.
So I'd have to look more into that. Joanne or Joan, whichever you want to call her, because she did say later on down here that Joan will do, Matt. So she said, I think Mac Jones is going to change the landscape of the Patriots' legacy this year. The comments were disrespectful regardless if true, but time will tell. I'm not a Mac Jones believer. I know Justin and Joanne are, but I'm not the guy here. The Patriots had Cam Newton, and I really didn't believe in their quarterback room, and then they got rid of Cam Newton, and I believe it did even less. So I still think he's number 5 of quarterbacks that were drafted last year out of the top 5. I think there's a reason why he went last, and I think time will tell. But Mac Jones, he could impress me. Who knows? So we'll get to that. Man, everybody's just out here Mac Jones fans. Maybe I'm not.
It's hard to roll Tide under center because they have not had good NFL quarterbacks. They're great on the college level, and that's super. But you put them under a professional, spotlight, and they just forget how to play.
I know there's got to be a quarterback back in the day from Alabama that I'm blanking on that totally went there and was good. But of recent years, name one really successful Alabama quarterback in the last 2 decades, and I'll give everybody time to think about that.
I'm looking at it. I'll get back to you on who the best one would be.
AJ McCarron is the best of recent, which is disgusting.
I like AJ McCarron.
Joe Namath went to Alabama. There you go.
Did he?
Broadway Joe. Apparently. That's a good thing to look up. I'm sure he did, back in the day. And he commented it multiple times. So I'm assuming yes. So Joe Namath, sure, Hall of Famer. Yeah, Broadway Joe. You got to appreciate it. Still, honestly, Joe Namath is still one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame, though. So take it how you want.
These are some fun names, though. I'm looking at 15 Alabama quarterbacks who've been drafted. You got Brady Croyle.
Gross.
Greg McElroy. Remember him?
Mm-hmm. It's getting better.
Jay Bart. Mike Shula. I don't think he was that good of a quarterback.
Not Don Shula. Mike.
Oh, right. Mike Shula. So that's not even that good. Right. Yeah.
Not the right Shula.
I wish this would load faster. This isn't
a list.
Ray
said Alabama's now got 3 in the NFL, Tula, Jalen, and Mac, and I think they will all do well. Shout out to Alabama for having 3 starting quarterbacks all in the NFL, and they're all under the top 25 of starting quarterbacks in the NFL right now. That's impressive. That's really good. And this is all Joe Namath is really known for coming out of Alabama is drinking a lot. So
yeah, it is. I can confirm Alabama I can confirm Joe Namath is the best from Alabama by a long shot. But I think what we have now in the NFL with Tua, Mac Jones, Jalen Hurts, it's probably the best chance we have to see anyone come close. AJ McCarron, obviously, I don't think he's that kind of talent. I mean, he was solid, but they had a lot of other pieces when he ran Alabama. So,
and the thing is that they still have a ton of pieces whenever those 3 were running Alabama too. So, and everybody wants to claim Jalen Hurts now, but he graduated from Oklahoma. So everybody get off his back. All right. He didn't even like Alabama. So get the hell out of here. Just because he played there once. Ohio State can't claim Joe Burrow. All right. Get the hell out of here. So yeah, it is what it is. I'm not letting Alabama claim Jalen Hurts. That's not fair. That's not fair to anybody. I've always claimed Jalen. Well, you're wrong, Ray. You're wrong. I understand there's that picture with Mac Jones, Jalen, and Tua all together. It's great that was once your quarterback room, but hey, the quarterback room of the Ohio State Buckeyes was once Joe Burrow, Cardell Jones, and JT Barrett, and that's all that went. Congratulations. Three amazing. Oh, and Justin Fields. Forgot. Don't forget Justin Fields. Shout out my quarterback. He's from Georgia.
Bears.
8-8. 8-9 this year. Shout out that.
8-9 below.
sounds even better. But hey, down to the final 5 minutes of the show, which is early enough to go to the final four. We need a topic. We didn't think of one today.
Someone in the comments, give us a top 4 of something that we can share.
We've got a couple people here in the comments today. Somebody asked us what they want us to do for our final four, our top 4 favorite something in sports, whether it be moments, whether it be players, whether it be team related. Anybody give a comment down there, and we'll take a good one and we'll run with it. Ray said, "I bet the Buckeyes wish they had Fields tonight." I haven't seen the Ohio State score. Yeah. It must not be going too well. Let me tune in on that. Also, need to check in that Bill Belichick is 61-72 without Tom Brady in his career. So that's something to look into. Ohio State.
Oh, let's do that one. Let's do what Jones said.
We got what Jones said.
Yeah.
Damn it, you got me saying it.
Justin, I'd say I'd do boxers, but the only boxer I know is Michael Hickey. Super Bowl moments wouldn't be bad. We can maybe do that next time, since next one will be the start of the NFL season. We could do that next week.
Top 4 female athletes.
I like top 4 female athletes.
You got a couple off the dome, or you want me to go first?
Off dome. I guess she's retired now, but Anna Marie Bruni.
It could be past or present.
USF softball. Probably my favorite softball player. Maybe all time. We'll see what happens in the future. But great defensive prowess, solid. Usually leading off, at least before this past season.
Either the 1 or the 3 hole, always.
Yeah, I'd have her lead off. But if you got Alexis Johns, you do what you got to do. She's fantastic. Steals a hell of a lot of bases. Just dynamic out there, electric. Another one. Why am I? Megan Rapinoe. Yeah.
There you go.
U.S. Soccer, obviously. Just amazing goal scorer and kind of can do everything out there. She's become kind of the face of the team ever since since Abby Wambach left. So Megan Rapinoe, I like her a lot. Brittany Griner in the WNBA. Hey. She's a beast. She can dunk, which of course is great for women's basketball. She's got great defensive skills. The way she's able to block a ball with ease is just out of this world. I really enjoy her. And then 4th, they're athletes. Sasha Banks, my favorite female WWE superstar. The boss. I mean, just electric out there. You kind of open your eyes a little bit more when she's out there. Anything that happens, around her is big time stuff. And she's also quickly become a face of the company. So, I'd say those are my top 4.
I have to lead off, of course. Oh, well, Ray is a big fan of that one. Me
and Ray are boys, I swear.
He agrees with you. And he also said that Venus and Serena would have to be in his top 5.
Those are good ones. Yeah, I'm a big tennis fan. I don't know why I blanked on that. I'd also go Naomi Osaka if I could. She's going to be the best tennis player in the world really soon. Like very, very soon.
Tennis is actually where I was going to go to lead off. I used to love watching Maria Sharapova. Whenever she would play, just very entertaining. She was very good. Was kind of always the outspoken, overshadowed person above the Williams sisters, but always one of the better ones out there in tennis. And shout out Ray, he agrees. Sharapova was always an entertaining one to watch for me. And she was the first female athlete that came to mind whenever I saw this one. Second has to be Jenny Finch. Obviously, Jenny Finch, paved the way for a lot of people to get really into softball. I mean, she was very exciting, very electric, and very dominant whenever she was at the University of Arizona. And she's managed to stay in the national spotlight a lot. I mean, you saw her at the All-Star game strike out Albert Pujols. She plays every single year, leading a team in the Celebrity All-Star game now for the MLB. So she's been one of those people who's always stuck around and always been a force for female athletes and always been a representative as well. Definitely have to appreciate that. Of course, I got to go with a USF alum too. Obviously that's who we grew up watching or not grew up watching, but it's who we've spent the last couple years watching. And I have to go with Kitty Alaska. She was amazing, a female Latvian basketball player, and dropped if I'm not mistaken, dropped a 50 bomb on Ohio State whenever they were here. It was electric. I've never seen the Sun Dome go as hype as they were for a game that wasn't against UConn and or UCF. It was nuts. Ohio State at the time, I want to say, was ranked number 6 in the nation. Kitty Loxa just ended up dropping so much points. Was just the hottest I'd ever seen her whenever it came to just draining threes. I mean, she was automatic that night. And she was automatic most of her career. A very successful leader, a very great player as well. Definitely entertaining. And then, honestly, I have to agree with Justin here, Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey, whenever she was in her dominant phase and just going through it, I mean, there was nobody more entertaining in UFC. Yeah. Even because, I mean, she was taking people down. I mean, it was embarrassing what people were, it was embarrassing matches that people were having with Ronda, the most feared woman on the planet, a pioneer for women in the UFC, and just left her mark on ultimate fighting for women as well. Just a true trailblazer whenever it comes to women in a sport. And I think Ronda deserves all the credit she has because, I mean, she was by far the best in the world and for a very long time. Obviously, you know, time's caught up. She met her match, but it is what it is. You end up, everybody runs into an opponent one day that's going to get the better of them. But Ronda deserves nothing but the utmost respect, and hopefully will be the first woman in the UFC Hall of Fame because she deserves it. But for that's the Final Four. Thank you, Joanne, for that. That was fun. Yeah. Definitely got to give some love to the females in sports. So we appreciate your comment and thank you for that. But now, of course, after the Final Four, always comes down to closing thoughts. So, Matt, your final words and everything to everybody on the way out.
Everyone, go check out our NFL preview videos. We're breaking it down by division, dropping one division a day. So far out, we have the AFC West and AFC East. Definitely go check them out. I think one of them is RJ and Jamil. I think one's Will and
I think they're actually both me and Jamil right now.
Oh, actually, yes. Okay, you're right. So yeah, if you want to go see Willie P and Jamil talk up the football, it's good stuff, really. And I do think you guys will like it. I want to hear what you guys have to say about those divisions as well. So you know where our YouTube is, links in here, and it's pretty easy to access. Go check them out, please.
Perfect. Closing thoughts for me. I'm actually going to address this right here. Matt, thoughts on the Jake Paul fight? I'm going to give you my thoughts. Tyron Woodley took a dive for a fat bag, and that's exactly what it was. There's no reason why YouTubers should be taking on professional fighters and getting split decisions and or not losing. This is stupid, and I'm tired of it. I am so sick and tired of Jake Paul and Logan Paul just doing whatever the hell they want to do to make fat bags. Granted, if I would have known all I had to do was box somebody professionally to get that fat bag, I'd have done it a long time ago. But this is stupid. Get this over with. I'm so sick and tired of seeing the Paul brothers for some reason running the boxing scene right now. We need Michael Hickey to box one of the Paul brothers to shut him up.
Yeah.
And then, so Hickey, if you're still here in the comment section, get in there and fight both of the Paul brothers at the same time for our pure entertainment. John Alcorn, he said, great show, guys. John, we will see you here in a minute. That is for sure. But everybody else, we want to thank you yet again. Another fun GMs for Hire, where we just sit there and aimlessly talk and lose track of time because we had a lot of things to talk about and honestly got lost in the baseball scene, which is fine. But that just means we got more to address next episode. So for Justin, John, Joanne, Ray, everybody who is down in the comment section, thank you yet again for coming and being a part of the family. But hey, Ray, shout out you, my guy. But until next time, we will catch you guys later, and we will see you same place, same time next week. Take it easy, everybody.